Welcome to Season 4 of My Wife the Dietitian, a fun, evidence-based weekly podcast about nutrition and healthy living.
On today's show, we're talking all about the health benefits of tea. It's not just for the queen.
Stay with us to find out what it can do for you. Enjoying the show? You can help others find it and enjoy it too by giving us a 5-star rating or review. If you feel like reaching out to us with a question or comment, you can send us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Enjoy the show.
Green, white, and black, 3 teas to explore, each with a story, a legend, a lore. Green is fresh with a grassy delight, sipped in the morning, so crisp, so light. White is gentle, so subtle and sweet, soft as the clouds where the sun and moon meet. Black is bold with a deep, rich embrace, warming the soul with its comforting grace. From leaf to cup, their flavors run free, a trio of treasures in your pot of tea.
Welcome to My Wife the Dietitian. Hello, Sandra.
Hi, Rob.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing well.
Good. We're talking about tea. Let's spill the tea on the health benefits of tea.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Did you know that?
I'm drinking tea right now.
Guess where it was discovered?
I discovered it in the kitchen cupboard.
You sure did.
Yeah, there's a whole cupboard full.
A Chinese emperor discovered it when a tea leaf accidentally fell into the bowl of hot water he was drinking.
Are you kidding me?
No.
That's awesome.
Isn't that funny?
Wow.
I know.
Huh.
And there's 3 main types of tea. The black tea we're talking about. Green, black, and oolong. And there's white now too, because it's kind of a newer tea. But they all come from the same source, the Camellia sinensis plant.
It's like
bush.
the scientific term.
Yeah, it's like the botany genus plant. And each one's processed in a different way, but almost 90% of the tea consumed in Canada is black, while people in Asia prefer green or oolong.
I like all the flavored teas. Are they like the herbal teas?
Well, they're different, like depending on if it has the black tea leaf in it or a green tea leaf. The herbal teas are infusions.
They're like a blend.
Yeah, I think we'll do another episode on herbal teas in a different time.
Interesting.
Let's just stick, because there's a lot to talk about with black teas.
It's good to differentiate though, so that people know that they are different.
Yeah.
So there you go. We've differentiated them.
I have a little bit more tea trivia.
Of course you do.
You know when you tip a waitress?
Yeah, okay.
Or a server.
Or a waiter.
Definitely. If you know, with tipping, like with tips, it actually came as a response to proper service started in the tea gardens of England.
Oh, that makes sense.
So small locked wooden boxes were placed throughout the gardens. Inscribed on each were the letters TIPS, which stood for to ensure prompt service.
Or proper service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
now you get a gratuity anyway. It's included in your total.
Right.
It's like, what? It's supposed to be for good service. What happens? Now you just expect it. Crazy.
If a guest wished the waiter or server to hurry and to ensure the tea arrived hot from the often distant kitchen, he or she dropped a coin into the box. And that was the first tip.
There you go. Good tidbits there.
Good little tips. Tea tips.
Tea tips.
Yes. So, are there some health benefits to tea, do you think?
I would think so. Otherwise, why would we be talking about it?
Because it's something that it's the most common beverage after water consumed around the world.
Yeah, I guess so. Because of China, I guess, A lot of people over there drinking tea. I think we talked a little bit about tea in our coffee episode. And I remember that statistic. And we just thought, like, the whole Asian population are more tea drinkers, I think, stereotypically, than coffee drinkers. So that boosts up the totals.
Mm-hmm. And then there's England and
the little old ladies. We can't forget them. They drink tea.
I love tea.
Oh, and Sandra drinks a lot of tea.
Love tea.
So Sandra alone accounts for quite a bit of the tea consumption globally. So
I do like coffee too.
Our tea cupboard is quite stocked.
It's robust. Rui boy. No, I'm just joking. We're not going to talk about that one today because it's a different type of plant. But
which one?
Rooibos.
Which one?
Rooibos.
There you go.
All right. So did you know that it's kind of a continuum of oxidation and processing, like fermentation? So with the black is kind of at the end of the line because it's like most oxidized compared to the white.
The processing of the tea leaf, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, when you bite an apple and then it starts to go brown?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a similar thing that's happening. Like the enzymes are breaking it down.
Okay.
It's getting oxidized. So from white tea, then green tea, oolong, and black.
Green tea is the same as black tea. It's just less processed. Or
less oxidized.
Really? I didn't know that. I thought it was a totally different tea. Interesting.
Yeah. And because it's less oxidized, it has more of the potent antioxidants and polyphenols.
So white tea would have the most?
Yeah, it does actually.
Does it also have the most caffeine?
No.
Okay.
No, black has the most caffeine.
So the more oxidized it is, the more caffeine it has.
I don't know if it's related.
Okay. Well, because green tea doesn't have as much as black tea.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, actually there's we have
I wonder if it is somehow related. Interesting.
So black tea is rich in antioxidants. So that naturally is good for heart health and gut health, blood sugar levels.
All those good things.
Yeah, it's like, let's dive into this though.
Okay.
So what do antioxidants do? Do you remember we talked about free radicals?
They're good for like immunity, aren't they? Like fighting off things in your body and keeping you healthy and that sort of thing.
Yeah. They neutralize free radicals. And
which are bad things.
Yeah, free radicals happen in our cells when we're exposed to just oxidation in our environment. So exhaust from cars and even just like working out, like you're creating free radicals in your body, cigarette smoking. There's lots of ways that we create free radicals in our system, and antioxidants help reduce they neutralize the free radicals and reduce oxidation in the cells in the body.
Right. Okay.
And the polyphenols in the tea, there's a few of them. There's in green tea, you've heard of catechins.
I have. We've discussed that before.
Yes. Okay. And I think that was in our immune episode way back.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something in the catechin called EGCG, and that's a very potent antioxidant.
EGCG?
EGCG.
Yeah. Sounds like a Dr. Seuss thing.
It sure does.
Yeah, you got to get the EGCGs in.
That's right.
Yeah, good for you.
That's right. Yeah. And these are also really good for cognitive function. So our mood, our brain function. With the caffeine, there's a little bit of caffeine. It has L-theanine, and that's good for focus and for mental alertness. There was a 2020 study that actually linked green tea. If people drank green tea, there was 64% lower risk of cognitive impairment in middle age.
I wonder what that means. Cognitive impairment.
Well, it's when you start to lose your memory. It's in the first part of dementia.
I see.
Continuum.
So not just like feeling like fuzzy. You're just like it's a quantitative thing. Like losing. Okay, interesting. Mm-hmm. It sounded kind of like a general term, but it is.
That's a diagnosis I see a lot. Mild cognitive impairment.
Okay.
Yeah, and that L-theanine, the amino acid, really helps with focus. And that's actually in the matcha tea too. But we're going to talk about that on a different episode.
Right. Okay.
But that's why a lot of people like that, I think. helps you stay alert and laser focused.
Laser focused.
That's right.
That's the promise.
Yeah, tea is pretty amazing, though. If you think about all the fluids, the different fluids we can drink, most are sugary beverages. Most are artificial sweetened beverages that a lot of North Americans drink. And tea, by far, is so much better for our health in so many ways.
Even if you dump sugar in it, I guess, because a lot of people will take it with sugar. So it becomes like a sweetened beverage as well, but you're getting the benefits of the tea at least, right?
Well, it would be better with less sugar, for sure.
For sure.
I mean, if you're looking at it from a health standpoint, most people drink and eat their food for flavor and convenience. And so I think that's like why iced tea might be a common tea that is consumed, but it's kind of, unless you make it from scratch with brewing tea, you're not getting the same benefits in the iced tea that is commercialized.
The sugar crystals aren't quite the same thing.
That's right.
Powdered pack.
Exactly.
I find that green tea is tolerable just on its own, but black tea is like way too bitter. I would need something in that, but green tea, and then I would assume white tea is even less bitter.
Yeah. And I mean, putting milk in the tea it is fine, or any kind of like a plant-based alternative milk or regular milk in tea. It actually, you still get the benefits of the antioxidants and the polyphenols. It doesn't reduce the goodness of the tea.
Okay.
So that's a way to do it if you really need something with your tea, like if you find it too acidic or too sour.
Okay.
It is really good for heart health, actually, too. I think I was talking to you in the kitchen about this and how it actually can help with preventing cardiovascular disease by helping lower your LDL, the lousy or the bad cholesterol.
Right, okay.
And increasing your HDL, the healthy or the happy cholesterol. So that's a really good thing. And it can help actually with blood pressure, especially the green tea they're finding.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So that is going to also benefit, cardiovascular health and brain health.
Totally.
The other thing, we just did one on postbiotics and gut health.
Right.
Well, drinking tea actually really improves your whole gut environment there. The microbiome, it really helps to help the beneficial bacteria grow and reduces the harmful bacteria.
And that's any tea, or did you say green tea?
Yeah, the
any
black,
tea.
the green, the white, the oolong.
Right. Now, maybe this is the wrong time to ask this, but why are there certain benefits that green tea has that, and maybe black tea has it too, but isn't there certain benefits that green tea has?
Yeah, they have more of the catechins, the EGCG, which is a powerful antioxidant polyphenol, which the black tea doesn't have as much of because of the oxidation.
I see.
It's been there's more oxidation, so you don't have that same potent level. But you still get it, and there's still lots of benefits. There's other polyphenols in black tea called thiaflavins and thiarubigins.
Yeah, I love these big words.
And they actually help reduce blood sugar levels and help with cholesterol. So, the benefits keep growing here. So gut health, I just mentioned a minute ago, it actually helps to reduce the risk of IBD, which is intestinal bowel disease.
Right.
And type 2 diabetes, I just mentioned about the blood sugar levels. It helps with blood pressure, and that's related to cardiovascular health and reducing risk of stroke. And this can actually help with dementia that happens after a stroke. So some people have a CVA, cardiovascular accident, a stroke, and then after that, they can start to develop dementia. And tea can actually be something that can help in a small way prevent that. So there's so much goodness here. And then cancer. It has been shown that it can possibly help with preventing gastrointestinal cancers, breast cancer, ovarian, lung, and thyroid.
Wow.
So, and oral cancers. And the oral cancers can be the most devastating in terms of treatment. I help people work at the cancer clinic locally, and the head and neck cancers are probably one of the worst side effects because of the radiation. It's hard to eat when it's so sensitive and sore and you're feeling so burned inside.
Bet.
So you lose your taste buds and dry mouth and all of that. So it's if you can, if there's any way to help with, a daily beverage, and that's the thing we're talking about. It's just daily habits, right? Mm-hmm. So just maybe change if you drink Coke or Pepsi or a pop regularly, why don't you change that to tea? That would just be such a boost for your overall health.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And cold tea is not iced tea like you get like the sweetened kind of summer drink. But just your tea that you've forgot to drink and then you come back to it later, it's pretty good. Mm-hmm. And same with cold coffee too, if it's not like lukewarm coffee, because that's kind of like but cold coffee or cold tea where it's like you put it in the fridge and come back to it later, it's quite tasty. So if it's the temperature thing that you don't like about tea, you can make it and have it cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even with a bit of milk in it, then it's kind of like this creamy kind of beverage that's tasty and cold and refreshing and
absolutely
get all the goodness.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, I think the difficulty is if you grow up with juice or something sweet, then you're always going to want a beverage that is sweet. It's hard to get used to water. It's hard to get used to tea, which could be maybe a little sour or a little, just kind of watery tasting compared to something that's like really sweet. So I think, when we talk to, when I do the grocery tours with kids and we talk about, when we are eating foods that are super sweet, like candy or, sweetened beverages like pop or artificially sweetened beverages, because they can almost be sweeter than regular sugar, our taste buds get used to that. And then we migrate to those types of foods across the board. Mm-hmm. So that's not great for cravings. It's not great for, overall health and what you're eating day to day. But if you can get tea in there and start to implement and include a cup of tea once in a while, and then maybe regularly, daily, that is actually going to be super helpful for your overall health. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember years ago getting rid of the sugar and milk in my coffee and getting used to that just black coffee flavor. And now I love it. I think if I put sugar in my coffee, it would taste so sweet.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm used to it without. So it is doable. It just takes a little time to transition away from those sweet tastes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was a really good habit that you changed there. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I decided I used to put lots of sugar in my tea and coffee, and now I just use milk or cream in my coffee. So, I still like to have a little bit of that milky.
You're following in my footsteps.
Yeah, and we don't really buy sugar anymore except for baking.
Yeah, true.
So it's kind of nice. Like we just don't need it in our drinks.
Yeah, exactly.
One last benefit I have to mention, because it's so interesting, is oral health. And I mentioned that it can help prevent oral cancers, but it's actually great for fighting bacteria. And that can actually reduce the harmful bacteria that causes plaque and actually can cause, bad breath and cavities.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's because of the polyphenols and those antioxidants. They do such a world of goodness.
It's really interesting.
Isn't that cool? So have more tea parties with your kids and use real tea. Get them used to that flavor.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I think it's really good, and it strengthens the enamel. There's actually some fluoride present in many teas. like black teas. So that helps to reduce tooth decay. And as I mentioned, it reduces bad breath because of the antimicrobial properties of the tea. So it keeps your breath fresher, especially green tea. And I mentioned how it's good for the gut biome. Well, it soothes gum inflammation. So it reduces gum disease and supports healthier gums. And it's less acidic than coffee. So it's actually a little less hard on the enamel than coffee.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, coffee's, has a bit more kick than tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, and it does have more caffeine, but with the amount of caffeine in tea is about a third of the amount of a cup of coffee. So that's in black tea. And that's more common, like that's the most common one that people consume is black tea in North America. So 40 to 70 milligrams per cup of caffeine,
right,
compared to about 100 or a bit more, depending on your size of your cup of coffee.
Right.
And depending on the brew type. Green tea has about 20 to 45 milligrams in a cup, and white has about 15 to 30 milligrams. So white's a really good choice because it does have a lot of those polyphenols, the catechins that are in the green tea, and it's less oxidized, so you do get those beneficial polyphenols.
Right.
So it's one to look at and consider.
So when you say black tea, like Earl Grey and like the red rose, or I don't know, whatever, that's a brand, I
Orange
guess.
Pico?
But yeah, all those types. Those are all different types of black tea?
Yes. Yeah.
And they're all derived from the tea leaf, but are they like different flavors, or like because I don't really drink that kind of tea. So I don't know. Can you explain the difference with those types? Like what are the black teas? Maybe if you can.
Well, it's like all the tea, you'd have to read the label because all the teas have a little bit a different, like for instance, this Earl Grey vanilla, which is my favorite.
Yeah, it's tasty.
It's got black tea as the first ingredient.
Okay.
It does have some artificial flavoring and some natural vanilla extract.
Okay.
Now, most green tea comes from, well, it's the same leaf as black tea, as I mentioned.
Right.
A lot of it is grown in Japan and China and India.
Oh, yeah, well, that makes sense. I mean, it's very popular in that culture, right?
Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about herbal teas next time, but they aren't, the difference is they're infusions and they aren't derived from that tea leaf that we were talking about, the Camellia sinensis.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay. So they don't have any black tea in them?
Right.
Oh,
like
interesting.
for instance, this chocolatey chai herbal tea, it's made with chicory root.
Oh,
and
right.
carob pod and cinnamon and cacao shells and cardamom and ginger root and licorice root, natural flavor. So it's a combination of different roots and stems and flowers, and they're an infusion because you're pouring water over them. And
right, I see.
Getting the flavor that way. So it's really cool. And tea is definitely a world to explore. Like there's just so many. And I mean, there's whole shops dedicated to tea and for tea lovers because you can pick out different flavors and types of teas.
Yeah, I'd like to check that out sometime. I'd be curious to see how that all works and just to try some stuff that isn't out of like a little baggie from the grocery store.
Right.
Because I'm sure it's a different caliber of tea.
Oh, totally. The loose leaf and the bag of, the tea bags.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we've got some friends that are into the whole making it and putting their own bits and pieces in it, and it's really nice. It's like soup, but tea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So good. And it's a way to get more fluid in your day. So, we're always finding creative ways to get more water, more fluid, and tea is definitely something that helps with the fluid content of your daily intake. Mm-hmm. And a word of caution for people that do have caffeine sensitivity. As I mentioned with the caffeine amount, black tea does have a little bit more caffeine than green or white tea, but not as much as a cup of coffee. So you could like basically you could drink about 12 cups of tea each day to reach Health Canada's upper caffeine limit of 450 milligrams.
Oh, wow.
So that's a lot of tea.
That's a lot of tea.
Yeah.
Could be a lot of trips to the bathroom too, because I find tea just goes right through you.
Really?
Yeah, more so than coffee. I don't know why, but it seems to just, yeah.
I think that might be just you.
It could be just me, but I'm sure I'm not alone.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what you mean. If you're talking about it goes right through you, you have to...
I have to pee.
Oh, it's kind of a diuretic for you.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right. Yeah. And
you know,
with diuretics, it's you're losing fluid, which is not a bad thing as long as you're replacing it, like so that you're getting other fluids. You know, people actually take medications that are diuretics to help get rid of fluid, especially if you have edema and you have fluid retention.
Mm-hmm.
So tea could naturally help with that. But I think it's one of those things where you get used to it. Your body gets used to that diuretic effect.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. So black and green tea and white tea are rich in antioxidants and can protect your heart and your gut and your brain and your teeth and your oral microbiome. The antioxidants in tea leaves belong to the compounds called catechins and can be super potent. I mean, it's compared to 22 vegetables: broccoli, onion, garlic, corn, carrots, and other vegetables that are just loaded with antioxidants. And we know that just a cup of green or white or black tea brewed for 5 minutes can have the antioxidant power equivalent to the same amount of fruit and vegetable juice made with those vegetables.
Do you think between tea and coffee or tea kind of like maybe is a little bit more, I don't want to say healthy, but has maybe more health benefits? Because coffee's pretty good, and there's probably things in coffee you're not getting in tea, but it sounds like tea's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing for sure. And it really is individual. It depends on the person and your genetics and how you process caffeine.
Oh, okay, true.
So, and what you're putting in it.
True.
So there's an enzyme in the liver that helps your body process caffeine. And some people are slow metabolizers and some people metabolize caffeine quickly. And for some people, it actually increases, like if you have more than a certain level of caffeine in your diet, which is 200 milligrams, then it actually can increase your risk of heart disease and stroke.
Wow,
so it's very dependent on your system and how you metabolize caffeine. So if that's the case, like if you're a slow metabolizer and you know that you get jittery or anxious after you drink a caffeinated beverage, then tea might be a better option, or even decaf tea, because then you're getting the benefits of the antioxidants and the polyphenols and decaf coffee. And you still get the flavors, the health benefits without the negative effects of caffeine. Whereas there's some people that actually caffeine is helpful for. So it depends on the person.
Yeah. We'll link that coffee episode because there's a whole bunch of stuff about coffee that's we're not going to get into right now, but we'll link that in the show notes so you can have a listen to that one as well because it's really interesting. So thanks for sharing that information today. It's really cool to find out all these new and interesting things about the foods and beverages that we're consuming on a daily basis. So like I mentioned, we'll add that to the show notes as well as some of the other episodes that we mentioned today. Take a look at our website if you haven't been there yet. There's all sorts of great information there. We've got a great blog. There's all sorts of media articles. We've got a freebies page now with some free downloads you can grab. We've also got a weekly newsletter that you can sign up for. That's another thing that's loaded with all sorts of great information, recipes. The veggie of the week we talk about, give you some ideas of what to do with different vegetables. Tip of the week. We've got links. We've got all sorts of different information. So that's worth signing up for. It's just a link on the website. You click and join up for that. You can email us your questions too. If you're curious about something and want an answer, we'd be happy to put usually an episode together to answer your questions. So don't be shy. Send us a message with your questions. Love hearing from people. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You feel free to reach out to us there as well. Give us a like, thumbs up. That's super helpful. Something else that's helpful is rating and reviewing. If you like the show, give us some feedback. Let us know what you think, either by just a thumbs up or a star or a couple of stars or a whole bunch of stars, however it works. It's good for us to hear what you like, what you don't like, that sort of thing. If you feel like writing a review, that would be amazing. It's helpful for other people as well that are looking for a great show to watch, and they'll read your great review and hopefully join us. Share it with your friends too. It's another way to spread the love, as we say. So that is it for today. We will be back on Wednesday with Nutrition Nuggets, our midweek mini episode. So until then, have a fantastic week, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on My Wife the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.